close your eyes and breathe, your thoughts are not separate from the quantum field that surrounds youth. They are ripples in the same ocean of consciousness. Right now, as you settle into this quiet moment, your mind is generating frequencies that dance between the visible and invisible worlds. Each breath you take sends tremors through the vast web of possibility that physicists call the quantum realm, and mystics have always known as the space where all dreams are born. Feel your body sinking deeper into rest. Tonight, as you allow yourself to drift, you're discovering something profound. Your brain's neural pathways mirror the wave patterns of quantum reality itself. Every thought that moves through your mind creates ripples, just like a stone dropped into still water. But unlike ordinary waves, these ripples of consciousness don't simply fade away. They become part of the paternal conversation between your inner world and the universe that holds you. Your breathing slows, and with it, the chatter of your mind begins to quiet. There's a gentle truth waiting for you in this stillness. Your thoughts are not just electrical impulses firing between neurons. They are frequencies, living, breathing. Frequencies that shape the very fabric of your experience. When you think of love, your brain generates one pattern. When you think of fear, it generates another. And the quantum field, that invisible ocean of potential that surrounds every atom in your body, responds to these frequencies like a tuning fork responds to sound. Let your shoulders release their tension. You see, science has discovered something that poets have always known. The observer changes the observed. In quantum physics, this is called the observer effect. In your life, it means that the very act of your awareness, your gentle, loving awareness transforms whatever you focus upon. Right now, as you observe your breath, you're not just watching it, you're participating in a quantum event. A moment where consciousness meets matter and something new is born. Your jaw softens, your forehead smooths. For too long, you may have believed that your thoughts were trapped inside your skull, separate from the world around you. But quantum science reveals a different story. Your thoughts are waves in the same field that creates galaxies, that moves electrons through their orbits, that holds the moon in its dance around the earth. You are not a separate observer of reality. You are woven into its very fabric. Feel the weight of your body melting into the surface beneath you. This understanding changes everything. When you've struggled with old patterns, when you've felt stuck in cycles of doubt or fear, it wasn't because you were broken. It was because you were experiencing what quantum physicists call wave interference, when two frequencies meet and create turbulence. Your conscious desires were sending out one frequency, while your subconscious fears were broadcasting another. The resulting interference created the static, the confusion, the sense of being pulled in different directions. Your breath deepens naturally, requiring no effort. But here's what's beautiful about wave interference. It's not permanent. When you bring your awareness to these conflicting frequencies within you, something magical happens. The very act of observing them with compassion begins to harmonize them. Your nervous system, which may have been caught in cycles of activation and exhaustion, begins to find its natural rhythm again. Like a skilled conductor bringing an orchestra into harmony, your conscious awareness can orchestrate the various frequencies of your being into a coherent whole. Let your eyelids feel heavy, soft, completely relaxed. This is what the ancients called inner peace, and what modern science recognizes as quantum coherence, a state where all the waves of your being move in harmony. Your heartbeat synchronizes with your breath. Your thoughts align with your deeper knowing. Your dreams begin to dance with the quantum field of infinite possibility. Your body feels weightless now, floating in this ocean of consciousness. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, you're not just resting your body. You're allowing your mind to return to its natural state of quantum flow, that effortless state where thoughts arise and dissolve like waves, where insights bubble up from the depths of your subconscious, where the boundary between your inner world and the larger cosmos becomes beautifully, mysteriously soft. Each breath carries you deeper into this knowing. You are not just a collection of cells and electrical impulses. You are a walking, breathing expression of quantum consciousness. Your thoughts are frequencies that ripple through the invisible fabric of reality. Your dreams are quantum events that shape the field of possibility around you. And your very presence, this quiet, peaceful presence that you are in this moment, is a force of transformation in the world. Your entire being settles into perfect stillness. As you let go into sleep, carry with you this gentle truth. You are not separate from the quantum field that creates and sustains all life. You are an active participant in the cosmic conversation, a conscious wave in the infinite ocean of being. And in your dreams tonight, that ocean will whisper back to you, showing you glimpses of the reality that awaits when you fully remember who you truly are. Rest now, knowing you are held by the same force that moves the stars. What dreams will arise when you finally release the illusion that you are separate from the quantum field of pure potential that surrounds you? Close your eyes now, and let your breath find its natural rhythm. Feel your body settling into this moment, this sacred space where transformation begins. Tonight, we explore something profound yet gentle, the way your consciousness shapes the very fabric of your reality. In the quantum realm, there exists a beautiful truth. Nothing is fixed until it is observed. Every particle of light, every wave of energy exists in a state of pure possibility until the moment awareness touches it. And you, dear listener, are that awareness. You are the observer whose gentle gaze collapses infinite potential into lived experience. Your nervous system remembers everything. Every glance you've cast upon yourself in the mirror, every thought you've whispered about your worth, every judgment you've made about your capabilities, all of these observations have been quietly recorded in the soft tissues of your being. Your body holds the memory of how you've been seeing yourself, and this accumulated seeing has been shaping what becomes real in your world. But here's where the magic lives. Your observer is not rigid. It is not carved in stone. Tonight, as your breath deepens and your mind softens, you can begin to change the quality of your gaze. Think of a time when you looked at yourself with harsh criticism. Perhaps you stood before a mirror and focused only on what you believed was wrong, what needed fixing, what wasn't enough. In that moment, your consciousness was selecting from the infinite field of what you could be, the version of yourself that aligned with limitation. The observer effect was working through you, but unconsciously, narrowing your reality to match your conditioned expectations. Your nervous system, that intricate web of electrical impulses and chemical messages, responded to this observation. It began to create the biological conditions that would support this limited view. Stress hormones flowed when you saw yourself as inadequate. Your posture shifted to match the story of smallness. Your breathing became shallow, as if you were apologizing for taking up space. But what if you could soften this gaze? What if your inner observer could learn to look with the tenderness of a mother watching her sleeping child? Breathe deeply now, and imagine that within your chest lives a gentle witness. This is your quantum observer, not the harsh critic that has been running the show, but the part of you that simply sees with love. This observer doesn't judge or analyze. It doesn't compare or criticize. It simply witnesses with profound acceptance as you breathe. Feel this gentle observer awakening within you. It begins to look at your life, your body, your dreams, your fears, but with such softness that everything it touches begins to relax. Your nervous system, so accustomed to the tension of critical observation, starts to remember what safety feels like. This is where quantum manifestation begins, not with forcing or demanding, but with this quality of gentle witnessing. When your observer softens, the field of possibility opens. Where there was once only one narrow path carved by repetitive, limiting thoughts, now there are infinite pathways shimmering with potential. Your breath is the bridge between the observer and the observed. Each inhalation brings fresh awareness into your body. Each exhalation releases the old patterns of seeing that have kept you small. With every breath, you're participating in a reality shift, so subtle and profound that it happens beneath the radar of your conscious mind. The observer effect in quantum physics tells us that the act of observation changes what is being observed. But in the realm of consciousness, it's not just any observation. The quality of that observation that matters. A harsh, critical gaze creates one reality. A gentle, loving gaze creates another entirely. Your nervous system is listening to the tone of your inner observer right now. Can you feel how it responds differently when you look at yourself with compassion rather than judgment? Notice how your shoulders relax when your inner gaze becomes kind. Feel how your heart opens when you observe your own struggles with the same tenderness you would offer a dear friend. This is not about positive thinking or forcing yourself to see what isn't there. This is about allowing your consciousness to rest in its natural state of open awareness. When your observer becomes still and gentle, it can perceive possibilities that the agitated mind cannot see. Imagine your life as a vast ocean of potential. Your consciousness is like a diver exploring the depths. When the diver moves frantically, thrashing through the water, they create turbulence that clouds their vision. But when they move with grace and stillness, the water becomes clear, and treasures that were always there suddenly become visible. Your gentle observer is learning to dive this way with grace, with patience, with loving attention, and as it does, your reality begins to shift. The quantum field responds to the quality of your awareness. Where there was once struggle, ease begins to emerge. Where there was once fear, curiosity takes its place. Feel your body now, how it responds to this gentler way of seeing. Your nervous system, that faithful recorder of every observation, begins to release the old patterns. The chronic tension that came from years of self-criticism starts to dissolve. Your breath deepens as your body remembers what it feels like to be truly seen with love. This is the paradox of conscious manifestation. The more gently you observe, the more powerfully you create. The softer your gaze, the more clearly you can see. The more you release the need to control what you observe, the more influence you have over what emerges as you drift toward sleep tonight. Let your observer rest in this gentle awareness. You don't need to figure anything out. You don't need to force any changes. Simply allow your consciousness to witness your life with the same loving attention that the universe itself uses to hold all of creation. Your dreams tonight will be touched by this new quality of seeing. In the quantum realm of sleep, where possibility lives most freely, your gentle observer will continue its work. It will explore the infinite field of what you could become, selecting with love rather than fear, with acceptance rather than resistance. Tomorrow, when you wake, you may notice small shifts. Perhaps you'll catch your reflection in a mirror, and feel a moment of unexpected kindness toward yourself. Maybe you'll hear your inner voice speaking with just a little more compassion. These are the first signs of a reality shift that begins with something as simple and profound as learning to see yourself with love. The observer effect is working through you right now, even as you rest. Your gentle gaze is shaping tomorrow's possibilities. What will you choose to see when your consciousness opens its eyes to a new day? Close your eyes and imagine your mind as a vast radio tower, transmitting signals into the quantum field that surrounds you. Right now, as you settle into this moment, your subconscious mind is broadcasting frequencies that have been carefully tuned over years of living, feeling, and believing. These frequencies are not random static, they are the electromagnetic signature of who you have become. The vibrational fingerprint that reality recognizes as uniquely yours. Breathe deeply and feel how your chest rises and falls with each inhale. Your nervous system is listening, always listening to the symphony playing beneath your conscious awareness. This internal orchestra has been conducting the same melodies for so long that they feel like truth itself. The melody of not being enough, the harmony of having to struggle. The bass line of disappointment that hums so quietly you barely notice it anymore. Your brain, that magnificent quantum computer nestled within your skull, doesn't distinguish between the frequencies of memory and the frequencies of this present moment. To your neural networks, the electromagnetic patterns of past hurt feel identical to current reality. This is why you can walk into a room and immediately sense tension. Why certain voices make your stomach tighten. Why some dreams feel more real than waking life. Your subconscious mind is constantly tuning into familiar frequencies, like a radio, that automatically returns to the same stations. Let your body sink deeper into this space of rest. Feel how your shoulders release their invisible weight. The trauma patterns that live in your nervous system are not permanent fixtures, they are simply frequency bands that have been playing on repeat. Think of them as old songs that your inner radio plays automatically, not because they serve you, but because they have become the soundtrack of your identity. Every time you experienced rejection, your nervous system recorded not just the event, but the entire electromagnetic signature of that moment. The way your heart raced, the way your breath became shallow, the way your energy field contracted, all of this became encoded as a frequency pattern. Your subconscious mind, in its infinite desire to protect you, began broadcasting this pattern as a warning signal. This is what rejection feels like. Stay alert, stay defended. But here, in this gentle space between waking and sleeping, you can begin to understand something profound. These protective frequencies, these identity loops that have been running in the background of your mind, are not who you are. They are simply old programming, outdated software that your consciousness has been running on autopilot. Your true self, the observer of these patterns, the awareness that can witness them without being consumed by them, exists in a state of quantum coherence that transcends any single frequency band. Feel your breath becoming slower, deeper. With each exhale, you're releasing the need to defend the familiar. The observer effect teaches us that consciousness itself changes what it observes. Right now, as you become aware of these subconscious broadcasts, you're already beginning to alter them. Your attention is like a tuning fork, and wherever you place it, resonance begins to shift. Your nervous system has been dysregulated, not by life itself, but by the constant vigilance required to maintain these protective frequencies. Imagine your autonomic nervous system as a security guard who has been working double shifts for years. scanning for threats that match the electromagnetic signature of old wounds. No wonder you feel tired. No wonder rest feels foreign. Your internal security system has been running pattern recognition software that treats every new experience as a potential repetition of past pain. But quantum coherence offers a different possibility. When you allow your nervous system to remember its natural state of flowing awareness, something extraordinary happens. The rigid frequency patterns that have been broadcasting your limitations begin to soften. The quantum field, which has been responding to your unconscious electromagnetic signature, suddenly receives a clearer signal, the signal of your consciousness choosing to observe rather than defend. This is where the magic of quantum manifestation begins to reveal itself, not in forcing new realities into existence, but in releasing the subconscious frequencies that have been consistently manifesting familiar limitations. Your brain, when it's not busy maintaining old trauma patterns, naturally exists in a state of quantum coherence. It becomes a receiver for possibilities that your defended consciousness couldn't previously detect. Let your body become even more still. Feel how your heartbeat has found its own rhythm, no longer racing to keep up with the anxiety frequencies that once felt so urgent. The identity loops that have been running in your subconscious mind, the stories about not being worthy, about having to prove yourself, about love being conditional, these are not psychological facts. They are simply frequency patterns that became entangled with your sense of self. Quantum entanglement shows us that particles can remain connected across vast distances, influencing each other instantaneously. Your consciousness has become entangled with these limiting frequency patterns, but entanglement can be shifted when you change your point of observation, when you step back from identifying with these patterns and instead witness them with compassionate awareness. The entanglement begins to dissolve. Your subconscious mind has been broadcasting these protective frequencies because it believed they were keeping you safe. But safety, true safety, doesn't come from maintaining familiar patterns of limitation. It comes from trusting your consciousness to navigate reality from a place of quantum coherence rather than traumatic resonance. Feel how your entire nervous system is beginning to remember what it felt like before it learned to be afraid, before it learned to scan for rejection, before it learned to brace for disappointment. This is your natural frequency, not the absence of feeling, but the presence of awareness that can hold any feeling without being overwhelmed by it. The symphony of subconscious frequencies that has been playing in your mind is not broken. It simply needs a new conductor. Your conscious awareness, when it's not caught up in the drama of the music, can guide these frequencies into harmony. This is the gentle art of nervous system regulation, not through force or control, but through the coherent resonance of mindful observation. As you drift toward sleep, let your consciousness rest in the space between thoughts, between heartbeats, between the in-breath and the out-breath. This is where your true frequency lives, not in the patterns of the past, but in the quantum present, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Your subconscious mind, relieved of its vigilant broadcasting duty, begins to remember its original function, to serve as a bridge between your conscious awareness and the infinite field of potential. When these deeper currents of thought flow in coherent resonance with your heart's wisdom rather than your history's wounds, reality itself begins to respond differently. The electromagnetic signature you're broadcasting now is not the desperate frequency of someone trying to manifest their way out of limitation. It's the coherent frequency of consciousness that has remembered its own nature, spacious, aware, and naturally aligned with the creative forces that shape reality. Rest now. In this recognition, your nervous system no longer needs to guard against frequencies that match old pain. Your subconscious mind no longer needs to broadcast the same protective patterns on repeat. In this space of gentle awareness, what new symphony might your consciousness choose to conduct? Place your hand gently on your chest and feel the rhythm that has never stopped. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field 50 times stronger than your brain. Right now, as you rest in this quiet moment, your heart is broadcasting a frequency that extends far beyond the boundaries of your body. This isn't poetry, this is the profound reality that science has discovered about the organ you've always known holds your deepest truths. Feel that steady pulse beneath your palm. Your heart and brain exist in a state of quantum entanglement. Two instruments playing in an eternal duet that shapes every moment of your experience. When your heart contracts, it doesn't just pump blood, it sends electromagnetic waves through your entire nervous system, informing your brain about the emotional landscape of your inner world. And your brain, in turn, responds with its own frequencies, creating a conversation between thought and feeling that determines the very texture of your reality. Let your breathing naturally sync with your heartbeat. For too long, you may have believed that your heart was simply a muscle and your feelings were just reactions to the world around you. But the truth is far more magnificent. Your heart contains over 40,000 neurons, a complex network that processes emotional information and sends it to your brain. Your feelings are not just reactions, they are creative forces that influence the quantum field around you, shaping the very possibilities that emerge in your life. Notice how your chest rises and falls with perfect timing. When you feel fear, your heart generates one electromagnetic signature. When you feel love, it creates another entirely. And the quantum field, that invisible ocean of potential that surrounds every atom in your body, responds to these heart-generated frequencies like a musical instrument responds to the touch of a skilled musician. Your emotions are not happening to you, they are happening through you, creating ripples in the fabric of reality itself. Your body begins to settle more deeply into rest. This is why your heart has always known things your mind couldn't explain. Why certain people felt safe before you understood why. Why certain places carried an energy that made you want to linger or leave. Your heart was reading the quantum field, interpreting the electromagnetic signatures of the world around you, and translating them into the language of feeling. Feel the space around your heart beginning to soften and expand. But here's what's truly remarkable. When your heart and mind achieve coherence, when they begin to broadcast a unified frequency, something extraordinary happens. The turbulence that you've carried between your thoughts and feelings begins to settle. The internal conflict between what you think you should feel and what you actually feel starts to resolve. You enter a state that scientists call heart-brain coherence, where both centers of your being pulse in harmony. Your nervous system begins to find its natural rhythm. In this state of coherence, your heart's electromagnetic field becomes a tuning fork for your entire being. Your brainwaves synchronize with your heart rhythm. Your breathing deepens without effort. Your thoughts become clearer, more aligned with your deeper knowing. And most remarkably, your capacity to influence the quantum field around you increases. Exponentially, let your jaw release any tension it's been holding. You see, when your heart and brain are in conflict, when you're thinking one thing and feeling another, you're broadcasting mixed frequencies into the quantum field. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while someone else is turning the dial. The signal becomes unclear, full of static, But when your heart and mind come into alignment, when they begin to sing the same song, the signal becomes crystal clear. Your shoulders drop as you release the weight of the day. This is why authentic feelings have always been more powerful than positive thoughts alone. Your heart's electromagnetic field is 50 times stronger than your brain's electrical field. When you try to think your way into a new reality while your heart is broadcasting fear or doubt, the heart's frequency overwhelms the mind's intention. But when you allow your heart to feel genuinely peaceful, genuinely grateful, genuinely at ease, that powerful electromagnetic field carries your intentions into the quantum realm with unstoppable force. Feel your heartbeat as a gentle anchor in the present moment. Tonight, as you rest, you're learning to let your heart's wisdom guide your mind toward frequencies of peace and possibility. You're discovering that your feelings are not obstacles to overcome, but allies to embrace. Each emotion carries information about the quantum field you're navigating. Each feeling is a compass pointing toward the frequencies that will serve your highest good. Your breath becomes slower, deeper, more effortless. When you felt stuck in old patterns, when you've struggled to manifest the changes you desire, it wasn't because you weren't trying hard enough. It was because there was a disconnection between your heart's frequency and your mind's intention. Your thoughts were reaching for one future while your heart was still resonating with old wounds, old fears, old stories about what was possible for you. Let your eyelids feel heavy, soft, completely relaxed. But healing happens when you bring your awareness to this quantum entanglement between your heart and mind, when you place your hand on your chest, as you're doing now, and simply listen to the rhythm that has been with you since before your first breath. When you honor the feelings that arise without trying to change them, allowing them to flow through you like weather patterns moving across a vast sky, your entire body begins to feel weightless, supported by something greater than yourself. This is the field of feeling, the electromagnetic ocean that your heart creates around you. It's not separate from the quantum field that physicists study. It's your personal interface with that field. Through your heart's frequency, you're constantly broadcasting information about your inner state into the fabric of reality, and that fabric responds, weaving experiences that match the frequency you're transmitting. Feel yourself floating in this ocean of electromagnetic love. As you drift towards sleep, let your heart and mind find their natural harmony. Let the 50-fold power of your heart's electromagnetic field guide your thoughts toward frequencies of peace, gratitude, and gentle possibility. Let your feelings become the bridge between your deepest dreams and the quantum field that holds infinite potential. Your breathing becomes as natural as waves touching the shore. You are not just a thinking being with a heart. You are a feeling being with a mind. Your heart is the primary broadcaster. Your mind is the translator. And together they create the frequency that shapes your reality. Tonight, as you rest in this understanding, allow your heart's wisdom to attune your entire being to the frequencies of love, peace, and boundless possibility. Rest now in the field of feeling that surrounds and sustains you. What new reality might emerge when your heart and mind finally remember they were always meant to dance together? Rest your body now, allowing it to sink deeper into this sacred space of becoming. Tonight, we journey into the mystery of how thoughts become reality, and how you can gently unravel the patterns that have kept you bound to yesterday's limitations. Imagine, if you will, that every thought you've ever had exists somewhere in space, floating, shimmering, waiting. In the quantum realm, these thoughts are like waves of pure possibility, dancing in superposition until the moment your consciousness chooses to observe them. When you focus on a thought, it collapses from infinite potential into the solid experience of your reality. Your brain, that magnificent 3-pound universe within your skull, has been learning since birth. Every repeated thought carved deeper, grooves into your neural pathways, like water flowing down a mountainside, gradually creating channels that seem permanent. Your nervous system learned to follow these familiar routes, collapsing the same possibilities over and over again, until you forgot that other paths existed. But here's what your conditioned mind doesn't want you to know. These patterns are not permanent. They are simply habits of observation, neural highways that have become worn smooth through repetition. Tonight, as your breath deepens and your awareness softens, you can begin to allow these old patterns to dissolve. Feel your breath now, how it moves through your body without effort, without forcing. This is neuroplasticity in action, your brain's ability to rewire itself, to create new pathways, to collapse different possibilities into experience. With each breath, you're feeding your neurons the oxygen they need to forge new connections. Think of a limiting belief you've carried for years. Perhaps the thought that you're not creative enough, not worthy enough, not capable enough. This thought has been collapsing into your reality so consistently that it feels like truth. But what if it's simply a wave pattern that your consciousness has been observing out of habit? Your nervous system holds the memory of every time you've collapsed. This limiting pattern, your body knows the exact chemical cascade that follows this thought, the subtle tension in your shoulders, the shallow breathing, the way your heart contracts just slightly. These physical responses have been reinforcing the neural pathway, creating what feels like an unbreakable loop. But loops, no matter how deeply grooved, can be interrupted. An interruption is not violent, it's gentle, like morning mist dissolving in sunlight as you breathe. Imagine your consciousness expanding beyond the familiar boundaries of your conditioned thoughts. Feel how your awareness can step back from the automatic patterns, becoming the gentle observer who watches thoughts arise and pass away like clouds drifting across an endless sky. This is where quantum shift begins, not in forcing new thoughts, but in allowing the old ones to exist without immediately collapsing them into experience. When you can observe a limiting thought without believing it, without feeding it the energy of your attention, it begins to lose its power to shape your reality. Your brain is remarkably plastic, especially in these quiet moments between waking and sleeping. As you rest here, new neural pathways are forming delicate threads of possibility that connect previously unlinked regions of your mind. These new connections are creating space for different thoughts to emerge, different possibilities to collapse into experience. Feel how your nervous system responds to this gentler approach. Instead of the familiar tension that comes from fighting old patterns, there's a sense of spaciousness. Your body remembers what it feels like to exist in uncertainty, not the frightening uncertainty of chaos, but the creative uncertainty of infinite possibility. This is the paradox of transformation. The more you try to force change, the more you strengthen the old patterns. But when you allow yourself to rest in the space between thoughts, in the quantum void where all possibilities exist simultaneously, change happens naturally, effortlessly. Your breath is the bridge between the old and the new. Each inhalation brings fresh neural activity, new combinations of thoughts and sensations. Each exhalation releases the grip of familiar patterns, allowing them to dissolve back into the field of pure potential. Imagine your mind as a vast ocean. For years, You've been swimming in the same small area, following the same currents, seeing the same familiar landmarks. But tonight, as you float in this space of gentle awareness, you realize that the ocean is infinite. There are currents you've never felt, depths you've never explored, possibilities you've never imagined. Your nervous system is learning to embrace this vastness. Where once it sought the safety of familiar patterns, now it begins to find excitement in the unknown. The uncertainty that once triggered fear now becomes a doorway to transformation. This is the gentle science of neuroplasticity meeting quantum awareness. Your brain doesn't need to be forced to change it wants to change. It's constantly seeking new connections, new patterns, new ways of experiencing reality. But it needs permission to let go of the old, and that permission comes through your willingness to rest in uncertainty. Feel how your body responds to this new relationship with the unknown. Your breathing deepens as your nervous system realizes it doesn't need to maintain constant vigilance against change. Your muscles soften as they release the chronic tension of holding onto familiar patterns. Each thought that arises now has the potential to collapse into something entirely new. The worried thought about tomorrow can dissolve into curiosity about what might unfold. The critical thought about your appearance can transform into wonder at the miracle of embodied consciousness. The fearful thought about your capabilities can become excitement about undiscovered potentials. This collapse of old patterns is not destruction, it's liberation. Like a butterfly dissolving its caterpillar form to emerge transformed, you're allowing rigid neural structures to soften into fluid possibility. Your consciousness is learning to dance with uncertainty, to find beauty in the space between the known and the unknown. As you drift deeper into this state of gentle awareness, your brain continues its mysterious work. In the quantum realm of sleep, thoughts and dreams will arise and dissolve without the heavy machinery of conscious judgment. Your nervous system will explore new patterns, new frequencies, new ways of being that would be impossible in the rigid structure of waking. Consciousness, the old patterns haven't disappeared, they've simply lost their monopoly on your attention. Like former rulers who no longer hold power, they may occasionally rise to make their familiar proclamations, but they no longer have the authority to collapse your reality into limitation. Tomorrow, when you wake, you may notice subtle shifts in how thoughts arise. Perhaps a critical thought will appear, but instead of immediately believing it, you'll observe it with gentle curiosity. Maybe a fearful thought will emerge, but rather than contracting around it, you'll breathe and allow it to dissolve back into the field of possibility. These are the first signs of a reality shift that begins in the quantum realm of consciousness and ripples outward into lived experience. Your nervous system is learning a new language, the language of possibility, of gentle uncertainty, of creative potential. The collapse of old patterns is not an ending, but a beginning. In the space where rigid thoughts once ruled, new frequencies of awareness can emerge. And in this emerging, you discover that reality is not fixed but fluid, not predetermined but participatory. What new patterns will your consciousness choose to collapse into experience? What possibilities await in the quantum field of your unlimited potential? Let your body settle into this moment of quiet refuge, where the day's demands dissolve into the gentle darkness behind your eyelids. Your breath finds its own rhythm, and somewhere deep within your chest, you can feel the subtle stirring of emotions that have been waiting patiently for your attention. These feelings are not intruders in your peaceful space. They are messengers carrying quantum information from the depths of your being. Your nervous system is far more sophisticated than any computer ever created. It stores emotional memories, not as static files, but as living frequencies that vibrate through every cell of your body. Right now, as you breathe into this space of stillness, you can sense how different emotions carry their own unique electromagnetic signature. Joy feels expansive and light. Sadness carries the weight of rivers seeking the sea. Anger pulses with the intensity of lightning seeking ground. These emotional frequencies are not random electrical storms in your body, they are quantum information. Systems that have been shaped by every moment you've ever felt deeply. Your heart, that magnificent organ that does far more than pump blood, generates an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than your brain. When you experienced your first heartbreak, your first disappointment, your first moment of profound love, your heart's electromagnetic field recorded not just the feeling, but the entire quantum signature of that experience. Feel how your chest rises and falls with each breath. Notice how there's no effort required. Your body knows how to breathe, how to feel, how to process the emotional waves that move through you like tides. The emotions you've been carrying, the ones that sometimes feel too heavy or too overwhelming, are not meant to be conquered or eliminated. They are frequencies seeking integration, like notes in a symphony that have been playing in isolation, waiting to rejoin the orchestra of your wholeness. Your nervous system has been storing these emotional memories as energetic patterns, creating what scientists call quantum coherence within your cellular structure. But when emotions become suppressed, when you learned to push them down or push them away, these quantum patterns become fragmented. They begin to influence your thoughts and perceptions from the shadows, like background music that you can't quite identify, but that colors everything you experience. Think of a time when you walked into a room and immediately felt the emotional atmosphere, the tension after an argument, the warmth of celebration, the heaviness of grief. Your nervous system was reading quantum information, detecting the electromagnetic patterns of unexpressed emotions hanging in the air. This same sensitivity exists within you, constantly processing the emotional frequencies that live in your own energy field. The profound truth about emotional healing is that it doesn't require you to change your past or fix what happened to you. Healing occurs through a quantum shift in observation. When you change the frequency through which you perceive your emotional experiences, your consciousness, when it approaches your feelings with curiosity rather than resistance, creates a coherent field that allows suppressed emotions to complete their natural cycle. Let your awareness gently expand to include any emotions that might be present in this moment. Perhaps there's a subtle sadness that has been following you like a faithful companion. Maybe there's anger that has been compressed into tension in your shoulders, or joy that you've been afraid to fully feel because it might disappear. These emotions are not problems to solve. They are waves seeking to return to the ocean of your being. The observer effect tells us that consciousness changes what it observes. When you bring gentle awareness to your emotional landscape, you're not just witnessing your feelings, you're providing the coherent field necessary for quantum healing to occur. Your emotions, when met with this quality of presence, begin to release their stored quantum information and return to their natural state of flow. Imagine your emotions as water that has been frozen in particular shapes by trauma, by conditioning, by the need to protect yourself. Your conscious attention is like gentle sunlight, not trying to force the ice to melt, but simply providing the warmth necessary for transformation. The frozen patterns of emotional energy begin to soften, to flow, to remember their liquid nature. This is why emotional healing can happen so quickly when approached from a quantum perspective. You're not gradually chipping away at decades of emotional ice. You're providing the coherent field that allows suppressed feelings to complete their natural movement. The grief that has been locked in your chest doesn't need years of analysis. It needs the spacious presence of your awareness to flow through you like a river returning to the sea. Feel how your body naturally wants to release what it has been holding. With each exhale, you're creating space for emotions to move. There's no need to name them or understand them. Completely quantum healing happens through allowing, through the gentle surrender of needing to control how you feel. Your nervous system knows how to process emotion. It's been doing this since before you were born. When you floated in the quantum field of your mother's womb, feeling her feelings as your own. But somewhere along the way, you learned that certain emotions were not safe to feel, not acceptable to express. Your brilliant nervous system began storing these frequencies as quantum information, waiting for the right moment to complete their journey. That moment is now. Not because you've reached some perfect state of readiness, but because your consciousness has matured enough to hold space for the full spectrum of human feeling. You no longer need to divide your emotions into good and bad, acceptable and unacceptable. You can meet them all with the same gentle presence, the same quantum coherence that allows healing to unfold naturally. The suppressed emotions that have been influencing your thoughts and perceptions from the unconscious are not trying to hurt you. They are trying to complete themselves, to fulfill their natural purpose of moving through you like waves through water. When you resist them, they create standing waves in your energy field patterns of tension and contraction that affect how you see yourself and the world around you. But when you allow these emotional waves to flow, something extraordinary happens. Your nervous system remembers its natural capacity for quantum coherence. The fragmented patterns of stored emotion begin to integrate, creating a more harmonious electromagnetic field around your heart. This coherence doesn't just affect you, it influences the quantum field itself, changing how reality responds to your presence. This is the deeper meaning of quantum manifestation. Not forcing reality to match your desires, but creating the internal coherence that allows your authentic self to emerge. When your emotions are flowing freely through you, when your nervous system is no longer using energy to suppress natural feelings, your consciousness becomes a clear channel for the creative forces that shape your experience. Let your body become even more still. Feel how your heartbeat has found its own wisdom, no longer racing to keep up with the fear of feeling. The emotional frequencies that have been waiting in the quantum field of your nervous system are beginning to remember their original purpose, not to define you, but to flow through you like music through an instrument. Your past experiences, the ones that created these emotional patterns, don't need to be healed or changed. They need to be honored for the quantum information they contain. Each feeling you've ever had has contributed to the unique electromagnetic signature of your consciousness. When approached with reverence rather than resistance, even your most difficult emotions reveal themselves as frequencies of wisdom, as quantum teachers that have been guiding you toward greater coherence as you drift toward sleep. Let your awareness rest in the space between thoughts, in the pause between heartbeats, in the stillness that contains all movement. This is where quantum healing occurs, not in the emotions themselves, but in the spacious awareness that can hold any feeling without being overwhelmed by it. Your nervous system, finally given permission to complete its natural processes, begins to release the stored patterns that have been waiting for your conscious attention. The quantum information of your emotional experiences flows through you like streams returning to the ocean, carrying with them the wisdom of everything you've ever felt, everything you've ever been. In this space of gentle allowing, what new frequencies might emerge from the depths of your being? Breathe deeply and let your mind settle into the vastness of this moment. Your brain's neural pathways are not fixed highways carved in stone. They are flowing rivers that can be redirected through conscious intention and quantum awareness. Right now, as you rest in this quiet space, billions of neurons are dancing in patterns that create your experience of reality. And with each thought you choose, each feeling you allow, each moment of awareness you cultivate, you are actively reshaping the very architecture of your mind. Feel your body sinking deeper into complete relaxation. For too long, you may have believed that your brain was like a computer with fixed programming, that your thoughts were predetermined by circuits installed long ago. But neuroscience has revealed something far more hopeful. Your brain possesses what scientists call neuroplasticity, the ability to form new neural connections throughout your entire life. Every thought you think strengthens certain pathways, while allowing others to fade into the background, literally rewiring your brain's structure moment by moment. Your breathing naturally deepens as you release into this understanding. Think of your neural pathways as rivers carved through the landscape of your consciousness. When you were young, the first thoughts you learned to think created the initial channels. Thoughts about safety and danger, love and rejection, possibility and limitation, each one carved its own riverbed through the soft clay of your developing mind. And like water following the path of least resistance, your thoughts began to flow automatically through these familiar channels. Let your shoulders drop as you release the weight of old patterns. But here's what's remarkable. Rivers can be redirected. When you bring conscious awareness to your thoughts, when you choose to think new thoughts about yourself and your possibilities, you're not just changing your mental content, you're literally changing your brain's physical structure. Each time you choose a thought of peace over anxiety, gratitude over resentment, possibility over limitation, you're sending signals through your nervous system that strengthen those neural pathways. Your jaw softens as you feel the gentle power of your own awareness. This is where quantum consciousness meets neuroscience in the most beautiful way. Every time you observe your thoughts without judgment, every time you witness your mental patterns with compassion, you're engaging what quantum physics calls the observer effect. Your conscious awareness doesn't just watch your thoughts, it influences them, shapes them, transforms them. You become the conscious architect of your own mind. Feel your forehead smoothing as mental tension begins to dissolve. You see, your brain is constantly generating electrical patterns that create what neuroscientists call brain waves. When you're anxious, your brain produces rapid, chaotic frequencies. When you're at peace, it generates slower, more coherent patterns. And these electrical patterns don't just stay inside your skull, they interact with the quantum field around you, influencing the very fabric of reality that shapes your experience. Your eyelids feel heavy, soft, completely at ease. This is why your thoughts have always been more powerful than you realized. They're not just abstract concepts floating in your mind, they're electromagnetic events that ripple through the quantum field of possibility. When you think a fearful thought repeatedly, you're not just creating a mental habit, you're broadcasting a frequency that attracts experiences that match that fear. But when you consciously choose thoughts of peace, love, and possibility, you're literally rewiring your brain to broadcast frequencies that attract a different kind of reality. Let your entire body feel weightless, supported by invisible forces. The beautiful truth is that your brain is most plastic, most open to rewiring. in states of deep relaxation like the one you're experiencing now. When your nervous system shifts out of survival mode and into rest and restoration, your neurons become more receptive to new patterns. The rigid pathways that may have kept you stuck in old reactions begin to soften. New connections become possible. Your breath becomes as natural as waves, gently touching the shore. As you drift deeper into this peaceful state, you're creating the perfect conditions for neural rewiring. Your brainwaves are slowing down, moving from the rapid frequencies of daily thinking into the slower, more creative frequencies of deep rest. In this state, your subconscious mind becomes more open to new programming. The quantum field around you becomes more responsive to your intentions. Feel yourself floating in an ocean of pure potential. Tonight, as you rest, your thoughts are laying down new pathways for tomorrow's reality. Each moment of peace you experience is creating neural connections that will make peace easier to access in the future. Each breath of gratitude is strengthening the pathways that naturally recognize abundance. Each feeling of love is rewiring your brain to perceive love more readily in the world around you. Your heartbeat becomes a gentle rhythm guiding you deeper into rest. You are not a victim of your brain's wiring. You are its conscious architect. Every choice you make about where to focus your attention is a choice about which neural pathways to strengthen. Every moment you spend in awareness rather than automatic reaction is a moment of conscious creation. You are literally sculpting your brain with your thoughts, shaping the very organ that shapes your reality. Let your mind become as spacious as the night sky. This is the profound gift of understanding neuroplasticity through a quantum lens. You realize that change is not just possible, it's inevitable. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on your patterns of attention. The question is not whether you'll create new neural pathways, but which ones you'll choose to strengthen. Will you continue to reinforce the old rivers of limitation and fear, or will you consciously direct the flow of your thoughts toward new channels of possibility? Feel yourself dissolving into the infinite field of consciousness as you move deeper into sleep. Carry with you this empowering truth. Your brain is not a fixed machine, but a flowing river of consciousness that responds to your deepest intentions. Every thought you think tonight is a choice about tomorrow's reality. Every moment of peace you experience is rewiring your nervous system for greater peace. Every breath of possibility is creating new pathways for miracles to unfold. Your breathing becomes so soft, so natural, requiring no effort at all. The ancient mystics spoke of enlightenment as a sudden shift in consciousness. Modern neuroscience reveals that it's also a gradual rewiring of the brain, a slow redirection of neural rivers toward patterns of wisdom, compassion, and inner peace. Tonight, as you rest in this understanding, you're participating in both the sudden recognition of your power to change and the gradual rewiring that makes that change permanent. Let yourself rest in the quantum field of infinite possibility. Your neural pathways are rivers of light flowing through the landscape of your consciousness. Your thoughts are the conscious current that directs their flow, and your awareness, this gentle, loving awareness that you are right now's the architect that designs new channels for tomorrow's reality to flow through. Rest now, knowing that you are actively creating the brain that will create your future. What new rivers of thought will you choose to carve through the landscape of your consciousness as you sleep? Let your breath settle now into its natural rhythm and feel how this moment holds you with perfect gentleness. Tonight, we explore the most profound secret of consciousness, how presence itself is not just a state of being, but a frequency that can reshape the very fabric of time and reality. Your nervous system has been living in a strange paradox. It exists only in this eternal now, yet it spends most of its energy oscillating between two places that exist nowhere but in your mind: the past that is already gone and the future that is not yet arrived. This oscillation creates a frequency of anxiety, a quantum state of fragmentation that keeps you feeling scattered across time. But here's what quantum physics reveals. Time is not the rigid ruler we've been taught to believe in. It's a dimension of consciousness, as malleable as clay in the hands of an artist. When your awareness learns to rest fully in this moment, you step outside the stream of linear time and into a field where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Feel your body now, how it exists only in this present moment. Your heart beats now, your lungs expand now, your skin feels the temperature of the air now. Your body has never experienced the past or the future, has only ever known the eternal present. It is your mind that creates the illusion of temporal displacement. Your nervous system responds to presence like a flower responding to sunlight. When your awareness gathers itself fully into this moment, every cell in your body begins to relax. The chronic tension that comes from mental time travel starts to dissolve. Your breathing deepens as your system remembers what it feels like to be fully here. Imagine your consciousness as a tuning fork. When you focus on past regrets, you vibrate at the frequency of sorrow. When you project into future anxieties, you resonate with the frequency of fear. But when you anchor your awareness in the present moment, you begin to emit a different frequency altogether, the frequency of presence itself. This frequency is unlike any other. It's not emotional or mental, it's pure awareness, the quantum field of consciousness from which all experience arises. When you attune to this frequency, you become like a radio dial, finding the clearest station. Suddenly, the static of past and future fades away, and you can hear the subtle music of reality itself. Your breath is the gateway to this frequency. Each inhalation brings you deeper into presence. Each exhalation releases the pull of mental time travel. With every breath, you're tuning your consciousness to the eternal now, aligning your awareness with the quantum field of infinite possibility. Feel how different this moment is from the anxious frequency of thinking about tomorrow's challenges. Notice how your body responds when you're not mentally rehearsing conversations that haven't happened yet. Your shoulders soften when you're not carrying the weight of yesterday's mistakes. Your heart opens when you're not projecting into imagined futures. This is the frequency of presence, not just a mental state, but a quantum resonance that your entire being can attune to. When you vibrate at this frequency, you become a tuning fork for reality itself. The quantum field responds to your presence, aligning circumstances and possibilities with the clarity of your awareness. Your nervous system has been conditioned to believe that survival requires constant mental time travel, analyzing the past for lessons, projecting into the future for preparation. But this creates a feedback loop of stress, chemicals that keeps you perpetually displaced from the only moment where life actually happens, as you breathe. Feel how presence is not passive, but powerfully active. It's not spacing out or becoming numb, it's becoming vibrantly aware of what is actually here, now. The weight of your body against the surface beneath you, the temperature of the air entering your nostrils, the subtle sounds that surround you, the gentle rhythm of your heartbeat. This is the frequency where miracles happen. Not because presence creates something new, but because it allows you to perceive what has always been here. When your awareness is scattered across time, you miss the subtle quantum events that are constantly unfolding in the eternal now. Think of presence as a quantum state of coherence. When laser light is coherent, all the photons oscillate in perfect synchronization, creating a beam of extraordinary power and focus. When your consciousness becomes coherent in presence, all your scattered awareness aligns, creating a frequency of extraordinary clarity and influence. Your nervous system begins to recognize this coherence as its natural state. The dysregulation that comes from mental time travel starts to settle into a profound sense of alignment. Your body remembers what it feels like to be fully inhabited, fully present, fully alive. This frequency of presence exists outside the normal flow of time. When you're truly present, minutes can feel like hours, and hours can pass like minutes. You've tapped into the quantum nature of time itself, where duration is not measured by clocks but by the depth of awareness. Feel how your awareness can expand in this moment, not forward into the future or backward into the past, but deeper into the infinite richness of now. There are layers upon layers of experience available in this single moment, sensations you haven't noticed, sounds you haven't heard, feelings you haven't felt. This is the field of infinite possibility that presence opens. When you're not mentally elsewhere, you can perceive the subtle opportunities that are always arising, the synchronicities that happen when you're truly present, the insights that emerge when your mind is not clouded by temporal displacement. Your breath continues to tune your consciousness to this frequency. Each breath is a choice to be here, now, fully present to whatever is arising. Not trying to change it or fix it or analyze, it's simply being present with what is. Allowing your awareness to resonate with the quantum field of the eternal now. As you drift deeper into this state, your nervous system undergoes a profound recalibration. The stress patterns that were created by mental time travel begin to dissolve. Your body remembers its natural rhythm, its inherent peace, its fundamental aliveness that exists only in the present moment. The frequency of presence is not something you achieve, it's something you tune into. It's always broadcasting, always available, always here. Your awareness is the radio that can receive this frequency, and presence is the station that never goes off the air. Tomorrow, when you wake, you may notice how different it feels to move through your day from this frequency. Tasks that once felt stressful become opportunities for presence. Conversations that once created anxiety become chances to practice the art of being fully here. This is not about never thinking about the past or future, it's about doing so from the grounded frequency of presence. When you're centered in the now, you can visit memories without being haunted by them. You can plan for the future without being anxious about it. The frequency of presence is your natural state. It's the quantum field of consciousness that your nervous system is designed to resonate with as you rest in this fray. Equancy tonight, your entire being aligns with the eternal now, and reality itself begins to respond to the clarity of your presence. What will you discover in this moment when your awareness is fully here, fully present, fully alive to the infinite possibilities that exist in the eternal now? Settle into this moment of profound stillness, where the need to become someone else dissolves into the gentle recognition of who you already are. Your breath moves through you like a whisper of wind through tall grass, and in this quietness, you can feel the subtle revolution that has been happening within you all along, not through force or struggle, but through the simple act of allowing your true nature to emerge. The word transformation carries such weight in our minds, conjuring images of dramatic upheaval, of tearing down old structures to build something entirely new. But here, in this sacred space between waking and sleeping, you can sense a different kind of change, one that moves like dawn breaking over a mountain, so gentle and natural that it feels less like transformation and more like remembering your identity, that constellation of thoughts and beliefs you've been carrying like a heavy coat, is not the solid structure you once believed it to be. It's more like a river, constantly flowing, constantly changing, yet somehow maintaining its essential character. The patterns of energy that create your sense of self are not fixed monuments carved in stone. They are dynamic frequencies that dance through your nervous system like lights through a prism. Feel how your body rests in this space of gentle allowing. Your nervous system, that incredible network of electrical pathways and chemical messengers, has been working tirelessly to maintain the familiar patterns of who you think you are. But tonight, as you breathe into this deeper knowing, you can sense how these patterns are softening, how the rigid structures of identity are revealing their quantum nature, fluid, responsive, infinitely capable of evolution. There's no violence in this transformation, no dramatic overthrow of your old self. Instead, there's the gentle persistence of water wearing away stone, the patient unfurling of a flower that has been waiting all winter for the right moment to bloom. Your consciousness, when it's not caught up in the effort of maintaining fixed ideas about who you are, naturally evolves toward greater coherence, greater harmony with the quantum field that surrounds and interprets all existence. This is the gentle revolution of being, not a war against your limitations, but a tender witnessing of their dissolution. Your nervous system, when it's not busy defending old patterns of identity, begins to remember its original function, to serve as a bridge between your infinite consciousness and the ever-changing dance of form. The anxiety that once felt so essential to your survival reveals itself as simply energy seeking a new direction. The depression that seemed so permanent shows itself to be awareness that has forgotten its own luminous nature. Imagine your identity as a radio frequency that has been broadcasting the same signal for so long that you forgot other stations existed. But you are not the signal, you are the awareness that can tune into any frequency, the consciousness that can witness any pattern without being trapped by it. This recognition alone is enough to begin the gentle revolution, the quantum shift that happens not through effort but through the simple act of remembering your true nature. Your nervous system has been regulating itself according to the patterns of who you thought you needed to be. But regulation, in its deepest sense, is not about control. It's about finding the natural rhythm that allows your system to flow in harmony with itself. When you stop trying to be someone specific and instead rest in the awareness that can be anyone, your nervous system begins to relax into its innate wisdom. The observer effect tells us that consciousness changes what it observes. Right now, as you witness your own quantum nature, you're not just seeing yourself differently, you're literally shifting the electromagnetic patterns that create your experience of being you. This is not a conceptual understanding, but a lived reality, a transformation that happens at the cellular level as your nervous system remembers its capacity for infinite adaptation. Feel how your heartbeat has found its own sacred rhythm, no longer racing to keep up with the demands of a fixed identity. The patterns of energy that create your sense of self are beginning to soften, to flow, to remember their fundamental nature as expressions of consciousness rather than definitions of who you are. This is what quantum coherence feels like from the inside, not the absence of self, but the presence of awareness that can hold any version of self lightly. Your body knows how to change. It has been doing this since the moment you were conceived, growing and evolving and adapting without any conscious effort on your part. The same intelligence that transformed a single cell into the complex being you are now is still operating within you, still guiding your evolution toward greater harmony and coherence. You don't need to manage this process. You only need to stop interfering with it. The gentle revolution of being happens when you realize that change is not something you do, but something you allow. Like a river finding its natural course, your consciousness naturally flows toward greater truth, greater alignment, greater expression of its inherent nature. The obstacles that seem to block this flow are not external barriers, but internal patterns of resistance. Familiar ways of thinking and being that your nervous system has learned to maintain. But resistance, when met with gentle awareness, dissolves. Like morning mist touched by sunlight. You don't need to fight against your limitations. You only need to witness them with the same tender attention you might give to a flower opening its petals. In this witnessing, in this quality of presence, transformation happens naturally, effortlessly, as an expression of your consciousness remembering its own creative power. This is why the deepest changes often happen in moments of stillness, in spaces like this one, where you're not trying to become anyone or achieve anything. Your nervous system, relieved of the constant effort of maintaining a fixed identity, begins to regulate itself according to deeper rhythms, the rhythm of your breath, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the rhythm of consciousness itself as it dances. Through form, the quantum nature of your being is not a spiritual concept, but a lived reality. You are not a solid object moving through space, but a dynamic pattern of energy and information, constantly exchanging particles and frequencies with the field around you. This recognition alone is enough to begin the gentle revolution, the shift, from experiencing yourself as a fixed entity to recognizing yourself as a flowing expression of infinite consciousness. Let your awareness expand to include the space around your body, the electromagnetic field that extends beyond your skin. You are not contained within the boundaries of your physical form, but are continuously interpenetrating with the quantum field that connects all things. This is your true identity, not the limited self you've been defending, but the unlimited. Awareness that can witness any experience without being diminished by it. As you rest in this knowing, feel how change becomes effortless. There's no need to force transformation or struggle against what is. Your consciousness, when it's not caught up in the effort of maintaining familiar patterns, naturally evolves toward greater coherence, greater harmony with the creative forces that shape reality. This is the gentle revolution of being transformation. That happens not through violence, but through the simple act of witnessing your own quantum nature. Your nervous system, finally given permission to release its grip on fixed patterns of identity, begins to remember its original flexibility. The person you were yesterday was real, but not permanent. The person you might become tomorrow is possible, but not predetermined. Right now, in this moment of gentle allowing, you exist as pure potential, as consciousness exploring its own infinite capacity for expression.